Crossing the Atlantic at 6, I taught myself to be silent, to hide. I tucked and hid away the drum-filled music and clothing my parents shoved into my suitcase. I hid from the bullying, from the questions, and from the stares that followed me from each school I moved to. I draped myself in skinny jeans and pulled my hair back into a tight ponytail to blend into the walls. The walls were always too white. Crossing highways at 13, I found a place where the bodies and skin tones reflected mine, where the people who did not understand my veils and language still opened their ears to understand me. My voice was put on stage, heard and seen in a community of people who have never been given the mic. My voice grew louder and prouder. My face, my clothes, my music were painted on the school walls. At 19, a year into college, my voice is swept off stage to make more space for the white walls. I entered college, first in my family among the few from the school. I watched as my voice was muted. In class, I'd come with scripts and answers, but it was as if every time I opened my mouth, no one ever heard the string of sentences I sewed together. My voice is not just my own, but also the voice of students from the Mont Bello community who weren't given a chance. My voice is the voice of the young Muslim girl, the voice of the scared immigrant child torn between lands, and the voice of the Black woman whose skin and body has become a political playground. As I watched my responses and voice in class become unrecognized, unheard, it felt as if I was in the body of my 6-year-old self, being choked. But now I wasn't choosing to hide and be silent. Rather, I was expected to be silent. Even front and center, I am not seen.